Welcome to the Confessions of a Group X Instructor podcast. For group exercise junkies and enthusiastic classgoers, we'll explore and uncover authentic, thought-provoking, and heartwarming industry education and inspiration from entertaining, badass fitness pros. And now your host, creator of Warrior Rhythm, Warrior Strength, Warrior Combat, Warrior Revolution, and Warrior Kids Group fitness brands, Ellen DeWord. Here we grow.
Welcome, everybody, to Confessions of a Group X Instructor. Today, I have a colleague of mine that teaches actually with me at the DAC, although we've never actually met, I don't think, in person. Have we? Never. So this is Paige. Paige, say hi to everyone and tell us like where you're from and a little something about yourself.
Yeah, my name is Paige, and I'm from the Chicago area, but moved here about a year and a half ago with my husband and two cats, and I teach Pilates full time. That was my transition after being a professional dancer for 12 years, living in various places like Pittsburgh and Indianapolis. So happy to be
Oh,
here and call it home.
yay. I grew up in Chicago. The
Crazy.
suburb, like northwest suburbs. What part were you in the city itself?
No, I was in Wilmette. What about you?
Oh yeah, like Mount Prospect. I went to
Yep.
school in Mount Prospect. That's where I graduated high school. I went to college at University of Illinois.
Oh, okay.
So
Awesome.
yeah, that's so cool. So also I should tell you that Marilyn, our Marilyn Henson,
Yeah.
aka Goddess, the Queen.
Yes.
She's actually been on the show before and done an amazing interview. Actually, twice. I think
Yes, she did.
I've had her on twice. Yeah. I was meeting with her yesterday, and just so you know, behind your back, she sang your praises to me. She actually
She's the
brought,
best. I love
she is the best. She actually brought you up. I didn't even tell her we had a
her.
podcast.
Oh,
She just brought you up in the context of what we were talking about, and she said the most lovely things about you. So, yeah.
I love her. That's so nice.
Yeah. Okay. So today, everyone, we're going to talk about the pelvic floor. And I'm so excited that I, I think I just saw on your Instagram that you were really into pelvic floor health and an educator in that space. And I was like, whoa, that is a great topic for the show. We have never talked about it yet, but it is like a hot topic or should be. I'm starting to see the topic of pelvic floor health
Yeah.
start to creep up in our industry. So I think this is a huge value. And I will, at some point in our conversation today, I will be sharing with the audience uh, issues that I have had with pelvic floor health. And I actually thought they were certain issues. Come to find out they were other issues, not what I thought. I had self-diagnosed myself incorrectly. So I'll share that story eventually. But first, can you tell us, like, let's just start from what is the pelvic floor?
Yeah. Basics. The pelvic floor is a group of muscles that sits at the very base of your pelvis, kind of like a bowl or a hammock. You can visualize that. And those muscles are responsible for holding your organs inside your body, bladder health, bowel function, sexual health, posture, and then managing the pressure in your abdomen. So, really, if you think of your torso kind of like a Coke can, the pelvic floor is the bottom, and then the abdominal muscles wrap around the muscles in your back. And then the top of the Coke can is your diaphragm, which is that muscle that sits at the bottom of your rib cage. So the pelvic floor is really connected to everything in your body.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask you. Like,
Yeah.
why is it such an important part of the body? And I guess, I mean, you just said it. It's because it's more connected than we think.
It really is. I mean, a lot of times people only think about the pelvic floor in terms of, reproductive health, childbirth, but it's important if you run, if you jump, if you want to not leak. I mean, I could talk about it all day. That's why I'm
No,
so excited to be here.
I love it. Well, this is the perfect forum. I mean, I don't know as much about it as you do, but it's something I've been interested and read about. I know someone who's struggled with prolapse issues. I also
Mhm.
I remember reading years ago in an Ace Fitness journal. That's back in the day where we used to get the big magazine that would be delivered to our house. I don't know. They don't do that anymore. It's all digital now. But I remember reading an
Mhm.
article that said that urinary incontinence is a silent epidemic and that it's just something under talked about in the industry. And that was many years ago. And I remember reading that it's equally important for men. I think there's a stigma. I think sometimes because we relate it to maybe issues. I think generally, correct me if I'm wrong, that we know that often after childbirth, women can have issues with urinary
Yep.
incontinence. And so I think there is a stigma that it is an issue that, or that pelvic floor health is something that women particularly should focus on, but that's not true, is it?
Oh, absolutely not. If you have a pelvis, you have a pelvic floor. And so everyone needs to know about it. And I mean, I love that when men talk to me about their struggles, they are very uncomfortable. And I'm like, listen, they're muscles like your biceps, like your glutes.
Yeah.
We can talk about it in a way that's not as uncomfortable. And yeah, it can be interwoven with hip pain, back pain,
Yeah.
all sorts of things would be surprising to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone should know about the pelvic floor.
Well, maybe I'll share my story now with you and
Yeah,
with
go for it.
everyone. So I heard from let me start try to think of like the origin, the genesis of this story in my life. Um, I think it started with I have trouble or had trouble peeing. I had trouble going to the bathroom. Like I didn't I felt like women would come to me all the time. I would teach like super high intensity, super high
Yeah,
impact classes. And back in the day, I was teaching like Insanity and P90X, and
yeah.
women would come to me on a regular basis and say, I can't take your class because I pee my pants. They would say that. Or like they would
Hmm.
say, I need to wear black pants because I tend to leak. Or they would just, and those were just the ones that felt comfortable sharing it with me. I can't even imagine how many thought that, felt that, and didn't come tell me that.
No.
So I felt like I had the opposite problem. It was hard to go to the bathroom. It was hard to urinate. It was always hard. And I always felt like I needed to go to the bathroom. So I had this sort of like
Mm-mm.
cycle happening for years. It's only been in the last like year that I've had some relief. And I'll tell you it's because of a pelvic floor physical therapist. But so I would like go to the bathroom, before class, and there would
Yeah.
be some of my friends, gym friends, coming in the bathroom with me. And they would all just like pee like racehorses.
Yeah.
They're like rushing to the bathroom because they need to pee. And I'm like, just go. I'll be in here for a while. Like, just go. And can someone turn the water on, like in the DAC in the junior locker room downstairs? Like, can someone turn the water on? It helps. Like, just I'll be here for a while. And I would have trouble like going. And then it would like kind of like I would barely be able to pee slowly but surely. And then, and then as soon as I would finish peeing, I kind of felt like I still needed to go, or I would feel like 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes later, I need to go again. And so it was this chronic, I felt like I just had an an angry bladder, I was very aware of my bladder, and I know we're talking about the pelvic floor, not just bladder health, but it is one of
That's
the things that's related.
You're right on the money. Yeah.
I was just like, I was thinking about like, why do I always think about my bladder? Normal people don't. I mean, your average person probably isn't thinking about their bladder, but it was starting to even affect me socially, or like maybe not so much socially, but like if I was going to be on an airplane all day,
Mm.
I would be like, well, you know how you want to drink a lot of water and be hydrated when you're
Right.
traveling? I was
Yes.
like, well, I can't drink a lot of water because I don't want to have to pee 14,000 times on the flight. And I certainly could never take a window seat because I'll have to bother. So it was kind of affecting me socially. And a OBGYN did say to me that I had a lot of pelvic floor strength you know,
Aha.
that I might have a hypertonic pelvic floor. Spoiler, that is not what I had, but so I started to believe that. So
Right.
so she recommended that I see a pelvic floor specialist in Eugene, and I didn't. She recommended, I was like, I'm too busy. It's fine. And then and then I went to another later, years later, another doctor advised me, I think it was because of the same symptoms,
Right.
advised me to see a pelvic floor specialist, recommended one in Eugene, says there's an amazing one in Eugene. And I again, years later, ignored it. Then I fell almost a year and a half ago. I fell filming a combat production and I was the amplifier, I was going all out. I tripped and fell and I actually broke my tailbone. It still hurts.
Oh,
Like even sitting here right now, it's hanging off the back of the steel chair. So I hurt my tailbone and it just wasn't getting better, wasn't getting better, wasn't getting better. I went to a chiropractor for help and the chiropractor said, all those muscles in your pelvic floor attached to your, or not, maybe not all of them, but some of them maybe attached to your tailbone. And she
sure
said,
do.
she's the third doctor at this point in my life that said, you need to go to a pelvic floor specialist. And I was like, she said, because maybe you have a hypertonic pelvic floor and these muscles, like maybe there's something that
Yeah.
can help you with the pelvic floor with your tailbone. So finally, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's the third medical professional in 10 years to tell me I'm going. So I went thinking I had a
Boy.
hypertonic pelvic floor.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so I go see this woman in Eugene. I wish I could remember her name because she was really amazing. And it was interesting. I'm just gonna be like a little,
Yeah.
not super, a little bit graphic. So she like put a gloved finger inside of me and asked me to squeeze it as hard as I could
Mm-hmm.
for a certain amount, a long interval of time. And we repeated that multiple times. And then she felt around to see if there was some areas that could be painful and bothering my tailbone. All that to say, she said I did not have a hypertonic pelvic floor, that it was able to, it was, it could, I had great muscle strength,
Yes.
but I also was able to completely relax the
Okay.
pelvic floor. So that's not hypertonic. She said
Right.
it was actually very healthy. However, she in 2 sessions, I only went twice, she basically cured me. She said I
Wow.
just go to the bathroom too much. She's like, your brain, when your bladder gets to be like 40% full, your
Mm-hmm.
brain says it's time to empty. And she said, but you should be able to ignore that signal, wait an hour, have the urgency subside altogether. You should
Yep.
be able to hold it and then later go to the bathroom. And so she said, I want you to stop going to the bathroom so frequently. And then
Yes.
because I told her I would like go pee, go to the gym, go pee, teach a class, go pee, teach another class, go pee, drive home and go pee.
Mm-hmm.
So she was like, stop.
Yep.
Stop. And she said, in fact, if you always pee when you leave your house, you're literally telling your brain you have to pee every time you go. And she said, with that neurological connection with your brain and your bladder and those muscles, if you always pee when you feel urgency, you're actually then lowering the threshold. So then when it's 20% full, it's like, so, oh, also, she's like, do you wake up in the night and pee? And I'm like, of course I do. And she said, you are at your age, you shouldn't need to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. And she's like, in just unless you cannot possibly fall back asleep, she said, I want you to go 2 nights and try to ignore the urge. And she said, I bet you in
Mm-hmm.
two nights, I bet we won't wake up anymore in the middle of the night. And I swear it worked. So I just
Oh,
stopped peeing as much. She's like, you should be able to pee for like, I think she said like 6 seconds or something like that in like a stream. You know how I, so
Yeah, yeah.
she kind of told me what was normal, like what my goal was. And to be, I
Yeah.
can't even remember, but it was like, you should be able to hold it for 2 or 3 hours during the day and you should be able to pee, I think
Yeah.
for 6 or 8 seconds or something like that. And
Mhm.
so I was, I have been able to do that. And I no longer obsess about my bladder and I don't go see her 2 sessions. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I sleep through the night. So that's my story.
That's amazing. And I mean, yeah, I've talked to so many clients about either the urgency that you talk about, and people will just say, I have a small bladder, but you've made those habits. And so your body really does. Some people like you unlock your front door, you walk in and you're like, I have to pee. And so every time you unlock your front door, you have to pee. The brain, it's kind of incredible.
So, do you have like how did you get into this? I have so many questions. How and why did this become important to you?
Yes. So this became important to me because I too have my own pelvic floor and pelvic floor physical therapy story. So if we go back in time to 2020, I was still dancing professionally, and what a wild time in the world. But I started having this horrible chronic pelvic pain. And it was, I mean, it was just like this, like they were giving me, narcotic level painkillers and that wasn't cutting it. And we were trying muscle relaxers and visualizations and all these things. And I was like, I'm dying. I don't understand what's going on. And I have a high pain tolerance as a dancer. So
Oh,
the doctors were really like, what the heck is going on here? Like, what? Something is not right. So I had one doctor, one gynecologist say, let's do exploratory surgery. Maybe it's endometriosis, maybe it's cancer. Like, let's look. And I was like, oh, are there any options before surgery?
yeah.
Before just opening me up and looking around, I really was like, I want another opinion. So I found another opinion, and she did, a basic pelvic exam and said, she was using one gloved finger inside me and said, is this the source of your pain? And I went, yeah, that feels like one of my bones. And she said, that should be a muscle. It should not feel like steel. I want you to go to pelvic floor physical therapy, which I said, I don't know what that is, but I've been going to physical therapy for years and I'm very comfortable with physical therapy. I'm a dancer. Like, come on.
Yeah.
My list of injuries is long. So I
Yeah.
said, great, I'll go to the physical therapy. Just get me out of this pain. This is crazy. It was interfering with my life in ways that just when you have that level of pain for that long, your life gets so small. So I was
Yeah.
like, I will do anything. And I go to pelvic floor physical therapy thinking, what is this going to be? Is it going to be weird? Is
Right.
it going to, you kind of talked about the same thing. And there's that brief moment of like, this is different. We're in a private room, like
Yeah.
they do all of the things to talk to you about like consent and all of that. But really, you're working on muscles. I had such a great experience where we were working on, hey, can you engage this muscle? Can you squeeze my finger? The same thing. And then can you relax those muscles? And for me, my problem was a hypertonic pelvic
Oh
floor.
my gosh.
Mine would not relax. And it came from well-intentioned but uneducated dance instructors and even a couple of Pilates teachers. And I'm talking 15, 20 years ago. So I'm sure they've been educated by now, but saying, pick up a penny between your cheeks
Right.
and constantly hold that tension, constantly hold your abdominals in. And so those muscles never learned to let go and they were spasming.
Oh, no wonder your pain was horrific. I mean, if I can just relate on the on a level of having like a almost like a Charlie horse or a like I mean any
Yeah.
kind of muscle injury, a tear. Oh my goodness. So
Yeah. It was,
were you able to dance during that time or you just powered through it?
I was powering through it. I was taking a lot of the over the counter
Yeah.
meds while I was dancing and then, doing what I needed to when I wasn't working so I could sleep. But I was like, I don't want to be on these strong meds for the rest of my life. And I'm
Right.
so glad. I mean, pelvic floor physical therapy absolutely saved my life.
Yeah.
I learned how to breathe more effectively. I mean, these are the people that can teach you. I learned how to relax those muscles, how to sometimes use the pelvic floor and the abdominals, but not always all of the muscles at the same time. I actually had someone who came to me and said, "You told us in class to relax our abs. I thought we were never supposed to relax them." And I was like, "Oh, every single muscle you have should both engage
Yeah.
and release."
Yeah.
And I think, the world has told us, especially women, to always engage our abs and always keep them on, and that can cause so many pelvic floor problems.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. It's almost like this is maybe a crude example, but like we always were taught over the years to cue weight in your heels when you do a squat or shoulders back and down. We were taught that, but that was just those were ex really the weight should be in the tripod of the foot, evenly balanced. But I think that cue originated from a good place, or the intent behind it was
Yeah.
to avoid having, too much forward knee flexion or something like that. But if you take it to we're not really supposed to be squatting with all of our weight back in our heels, and
Yeah.
shoulders back and down can be taken to an extreme as well. And then we're rib popping. So there's a happy medium. And
Oh,
so
absolutely. And
I've
pelvic floor cues, definitely, some people do need to work on strengthening. And so for them, picking up the penny might be a useful
right.
cue.
Exactly. Some people might need to work on the Kegel or the strengthening, and some
Yeah.
people might need to work on the relaxing. And just like on the squat, some people might need to be shifting their weight a little far back because it's coming forward. But to other people, that's the wrong cue, you know?
Yep.
So, okay, so really quickly, I remember her telling me when she said I do not have a hypertonic pelvic floor because I can relax. She
Hmm.
was like, a hypertonic pelvic floor is so painful. And I think she used the analogy of like, imagine a waitress carrying dishes all the time, and like the bicep is short and tight, but could never ever extend the elbow all the way. Like it
Yeah.
just, you would lose function.
Yep.
So your pelvic floor not only was in pain, but it also wasn't functioning as it
Yeah.
should either. So how long did you have treatment with her?
I went once a week for about 3 months.
Mhm.
Now, granted, if I could go back in time, I
Mhm.
might have taken those 3 months off of dancing and I would have progressed faster. But I didn't. A little bit stubborn. But I really did start moving through this like, oh my gosh, there's relief. And so many things improved. I was able to find more range of motion in my hips, in
Oh,
my back. It was
wow.
incredible. I was like,
Because
it
because it
made me
connects to
think
your whole
about my
body.
body. Yeah. And I was already someone who was pretty aware of my body. And so I was like, wow, I can't believe I didn't know about this.
Yeah.
I need to learn more. And so that's what led me. I had some free time in 2020, not a lot of dance
That's
performances going on.
yeah.
So I started getting certified to teach Pilates, kind of thinking ahead to, I'm going to have to retire from dance in the near future. What's my plan? I can't just sit at a desk, I'll go insane. I'm someone who moves all the time. And so I needed a physical job, and that really interested me. And so that was really it. Like my pelvic floor journey got me into Pilates. And then a couple years ago, I did the pre-postnatal certification through Girls Gone Strong. And just like a quick plug for them, any group fitness instructors looking for those extra bits of information on like menopause, pre postnatal, all sorts of information. Girls Gone Strong has some awesome educational content that's incredibly peer reviewed and diverse. Like the people they bring together is amazing.
That's awesome. And it does apply to whatever modality, whether Pilates or cycling or HIIT class or bar or yoga or whatever class you're
Yeah.
teaching, those things are applicable.
Yeah, it's that
They
wide range.
offer, do they offer CECs or no?
They do. Yeah.
Okay. Girls Gone Strong. We'll have to put a little plug for them in our show notes too.
Yeah.
So, okay, so that's how you got into Pilates. And Pilates is like the biggest craze in the, that's what Marilyn and I were also talking
Yeah.
about yesterday, is like it is so popular today, Pilates. So that got you
Very.
on your way. Okay, wait, okay, so that's how you sort of got into it and why. But I have more questions about your experience over those 3 months.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
did what was ha, what did she do with you to help you learn to relax the muscle? Did she continue to work like with an internal exam, or how did she fix you?
So definitely we started with some internal work, and some of it had to be me, like she was teaching me also how to release those muscles myself, either using this tool called a pelvic wand
Mhm.
that you insert and can use to gently stretch and press on the muscles.
Yeah.
They also have things called dilators that people use in that field that start very small, like the width of a tampon, and then get wider so that you can, use those. I mean, some people think that inserting a tampon is painful
Mhm.
and don't realize that they have pelvic floor problems.
Oh
Like
my
inserting a
goodness.
tampon should not be painful. A pelvic exam should not be painful. Like pap smear aside and other more
Right.
invasive things. But
No,
the
that's
regular pelvic exam should not be painful. Sex should not be painful. Like all these things that we're just conditioned are supposed to be horrible. Nope.
and I do think that if there were a group of people that might be predisposed to developing or having the hypertonic pelvic floor, I do think they might be fitness professionals, also dancers, just because
Yes.
we're trained to be so, dancers especially, I'm not a dancer, but they're so extreme in their practice, just like I should do this, well, then I should do it times 100, you know?
Uh-huh.
So I think it's like our type of, our type. uh,
Yes.
Not to overgeneralize fitness pros, but we tend to be extreme. And if doing 10 reps is good, then we want to do 20. And we want to be like we're exactly what you said. We're told to squeeze the penny and to Kegel, 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 Kegel. And that's not necessarily what all
Right.
of us need to be
And
doing.
that's what some people think pelvic floor physical therapy is. And Kegels is like 1% of the things we did. Like we did internal release work and we found stretches for my pelvic floor, which was really interesting because I've been stretching since I was 3. So I
Mhm.
thought, I know all these stretches. No, no, no. I knew how to stretch my hips and my back and all of that. But there are ways to stretch your pelvic floor muscles because some of them are also hip rotators.
There's ways to stretch
So
them.
they're really,
Wait, we can stretch them with like
Mhm.
without internal stuff?
Yeah, like if you think about cat cow,
Yeah.
that is stretching from your pelvic floor muscles. Any sort of hip internal rotation
Oh,
stretch. I
right.
mean,
Okay.
child's pose. Child's
Right.
pose is a great, like that's lengthening the
Okay.
pelvic floor.
Okay.
Like down dog. Like
Oh,
there's so
no wonder I can relax mine then, because I do
yeah,
all those things all the time. Um, Wait, you just made me think of a couple other things. T- One I'm already forgetting, but the first of the two things I wanted to say was that the pelvic floor prolapse is kind of, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, because you're the pro, is kind of the opposite of the problem that you had. So
yeah.
there is muscle weakness and or ligament laxity, which can happen. The ligaments that kind of hold everything in place can get stretched during pregnancy, and once the ligament is lax, it
It
doesn't go
doesn't go back.
back. It doesn't go back. And so there's varying degrees of prolapse with the bladder, the uterus. I think all the organs in the bowl,
All of them. Yep.
it can all prolapse to varying degrees. There's different grades. And so it can be a very, very serious medical condition. But
Oh yeah.
I think we just don't tend to talk about it in the industry because I guess because we're shy about, I don't know, because our genitalia is there. I don't know why, like, we're
Yeah,
shy
it's in a
about it.
personal area
A
and
personal area. It's a very personal area.
um
And so I think we tend to shy away from it. So I'm so excited that you like boldly talk about it. We
yeah.
talk about it in all of our instructor trainings. But
Yeah, with prolapse, I mean, who's going around saying like it feels like my vagina's falling out of my body. Like
No
nobody
one,
goes around talking about
no
that.
one's gonna say it.
Like, but that it's that like heaviness feeling in the pelvis or something doesn't feel right. It's not always pain. Like prolapse there can be pain, but sometimes it's just like it just feels heavy and it feels like a tampon is coming out.
Mhm.
But there's nothing there. And the cool thing is I worked with several people dealing with prolapse and there's so much you can do. There's so many different ways to change your breath pattern, to use strengthening exercises for sure. But there's also devices. When you see a pelvic floor physical therapist, they can give you and fit you for something called a pessary that
Uh-huh.
you insert, and it gives you a little more support. You might wear it all the time. You might just wear it when you go for a run or do a HIIT class where you know there's going to be more running, more impact.
Oh yeah. Almost like putting on a extra sports bra for the you know,
Yes, yes.
dress part. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Exactly. And I
Oh,
mean, really, I want more people to be able to move. Like I'm a group fitness instructor. Like I want everyone to move their bodies, and I don't want that fear of leaking or that fear of like, oh, my prolapse is going to get worse if I do this.
ah,
I don't want that to stop people. I want them to know there's ways to make that better. And
ah.
it's not just, well, you're a mom now, you're going to pee every time you jump.
Right, like it's a
No,
normal thing that they have to accept.
it's common, but it's not something you have to accept. Exactly.
Right. Perfect. I remember the other thing I wanted to say. One thing that I tend to do, even though I am fit and have been, exercising for as long as I can remember and stuff, I I do sometimes like on a move like a V-sit, I will tend to sometimes protrude a little bit, instead of pulling
Hmm.
my belly button down. Every once in a while, I'll do a move, I'll be
Hmm.
teaching a move like that and I'll catch myself. And she was explaining to me how detrimental and devastating that can be for the pelvic floor because and you mentioned the diaphragm being the top of the house or the top of the Coke bottle. The diaphragm, uh, when we it contracts when we inhale, but it drops, the diaphragm. So when we do anything where the belly is protruding or bulging out, we're actually jamming and pressing those pelvic organs down onto the pelvic floor. So
That,
if someone is struggling with weakness or prolapse or both, that type of behavior is devastating. So did you want to add to that or?
yeah. No, I mean that it gets called like protruding or bulging or doming. Like it
Yeah,
gets called a lot of things, but when your belly makes that, I always think of it as bread out of the toaster, like popping up. And we want our abs to move down and
yeah,
our belly to flatten, not in a vanity way, but in a functional way.
yeah,
So exactly what you're saying, like that Coke can.
yeah,
If you think about putting pressure down from your diaphragm,
yeah.
and that's going to send all the pressure down to the pelvic floor, but you might change the way you breathe. And so a lot of times when we do something hard in any format, we exhale to do the movement.
Yeah.
So you might, if you're doing like a basic crunch, you might exhale to come up. And that does help because the
Oh,
diaphragm
right.
moves up so the abs can move down. And that's that. You never want to engage everything all at the same time and
Okay.
squeeze the Coke can.
Right.
Yeah. So there's ways to manage that abdominal pressure because that can cause back pain. That can cause pelvic floor issues. We want it all to work in balance so that those abs can go down and do their job of stabilizing.
All right. So we talked about how sometimes instructors might say the wrong thing, like always say the pinch the penny,
Sure.
whatever.
We've all
So
done that.
what do you get? Come on, I need to make me better. Make me a better instructor. Teach us how do you talk about the pelvic floor engagement or how do you recommend that we do?
So I think that it's really hard in a group class to cue the pelvic floor because unless you've worked with them one on one, unless you have that certification, you don't know what's going on with their pelvic floor or theirs. And one cue might be great for them and horrible for them. And so thinking about cueing everything else and not so much the pelvic floor. I mean, one of the best things we can do is encourage everyone to breathe
Mhm.
fully, and whatever your format is, maybe thinking about how to get them to engage the diaphragm more. The
Huh.
better our diaphragm moves, the better our pelvic floor moves because they
Huh.
act like mirrors. They should move together.
They act like what, mirrors?
Yes. So
Oh,
if one is moving up, you want the other to move up and down.
oh my goodness. I've
Not
never
that you
heard that before.
necessarily, yeah, it's not that you necessarily need to constantly think of lift your pelvic floor, relax your pelvic floor. No one has time for that. That's too much for the brain.
Yeah.
It's that we can, purposefully engage our diaphragm and choose when to breathe in and when to breathe out. But we also don't have to. Our body will just take care of breathing if we're doing other things. The pelvic floor works the same way, where some of it is automatic and we don't need to worry about it. Like you don't realize when you sneeze or cough, a healthy pelvic floor contracts. And you
Right.
don't have to consciously think about
Oh,
doing that.
it's an involuntary muscle. Okay.
Exactly. But the pelvic floor and the diaphragm, you can choose to engage or relax them. So they can do both.
Mm-hmm.
So
Interesting.
ideally, a healthy pelvic floor, you never have to think about it. You relax it when you go pee. It engages when you jump or run.
Mhm.
And you only need to cue it or think about it when there's a problem.
Okay.
So if I'm working with someone one-on-one and I
Yeah.
know what's going on, we've talked about their entire
Yeah.
history and all of that, and maybe I've said, hey, what did your pelvic floor PT say? Or what did this person say? I had someone who was in a car accident and her tailbone got knocked out of place.
Okay.
And so she was having some pelvic floor concerns
Hmm.
because, the tailbone was pulling on those muscles. And so I knew, all right, I'm going to cue these things. But if I didn't know all of that personal information, I would stay away from cueing that. Whereas I think that group fitness instructors are really good at teaching people how to breathe, even
Yes.
if that's mostly reminding them to breathe. That's
Mhm.
most of my job, I feel like. Like, are you breathing? Are we good?
Oh my gosh, there's this yoga guy on Instagram. He's hysterical and mildly offensive, possibly. You people might think his name is like Bradshaw. Do you follow him? He's all tatted up and he
I've
owns
heard
his
of
own
him.
yoga
Yeah,
studio. Have you heard of him?
I
Have you
think
heard?
so. Yeah.
But anyway, he's always like making fun of himself, yoga teachers in general, his students, but it's just very, very funny. Again, sometimes offensive probably to some people, but he did a whole thing about how yoga instructors cue, and all he did is say and breathe and breathe and breathe and breathe. It's all he said in the whole video. Yeah.
That's so real.
I
Yeah.
think that
I'm always like,
Pilates,
hey, did,
I'm not,
did you
I
feel
don't,
breathing?
yeah. Pilates is probably a great modality for people to get into if they do have pelvic floor concerns, just because I feel like Pilates gets really granular and slows down. And that was something Marilyn and I were also talking about yesterday, is just intention behind movement. It's easy to do like every kind of exercise without thoughtful intention, from weightlifting to yoga to
Yeah,
really anything. But it does seem that Pilates beckons the participant or the instructor to like get into the minutia of their core and all of that.
definitely. I mean, mindfulness is like one of those core principles that we're always working on in Pilates. And I like to think I'm helping people get acquainted with their bodies,
Mhm.
and we're taking the time to go in and just notice, hey, how does this feel? Where do you feel it? And yeah, I mean, so many people feel disconnected from their pelvic floor.
Yeah.
That that's a really personal, and something I do with one-on-ones is, hey, can you feel your pelvic floor muscles? And sometimes that takes a lot of practice.
Yeah.
I mean, especially like postpartum, that's a real struggle. How many people are like, I don't think I have abs anymore. I can't feel them. I'm like, well, they are there. We just have to reconnect you.
Yeah, totally. I remember I've shared this before, so some of the audience will have heard this story from me, but I had a neck surgery a million years ago. It was a cervical fusion. It was like 2009. And the my surgeon obviously I went to physical therapy, but the person I went to was a Pilates instructor, master trainer, and a physical therapist. And so she was kind of like, hey, if we don't fix the movement dysfunction that got you into this place where you needed a disc replaced, you're because now you're fused, you're going to have more mobility above and below where it is fused. So you're just going to end up needing another surgery in a few years if we don't fix like we have to fix this. And so we did Pilates like for a year. I went twice a week for a year and I had the most amazing like I'm fully rehabilitated from that. I have no neck problems ever anymore, but I attribute some of it to an important surgery that was done well, but I attribute it equally to her work with me. And so she put me on a reformer and a Cadillac and all that stuff. And I remember her sticking her fingers kind of on the inside of my hip bone trying to get me
Uh-huh.
to engage my transversus. And I literally couldn't. Like she'd be like, nope, those are your obliques. Nope, those are your obliques. Nope, those are your obliques. And it took me a long time to be able to connect to what it felt like to engage my transversus. Furthermore, I thought I was doing it when I wasn't. So I learned how to do that and it was amazing. So yeah, she taught me so much. Okay, she also did taught me this. She had me, this isn't related to the pelvic floor, but it's related to Pilates and spinal alignment and body awareness. She was like, lay down on my table, the little physical therapy table, like kind of being in a doctor's office on the like crinkly, crunchy white paper. She's like,
Yep.
lay down and show me how you sleep at night. So I like laid down in the fetal position and got to where I'm like, this is how I
Okay.
sleep at night. And she's like, you're in forward head position. She's like, so what do you sleep? 8 hours
Ah,
a night? Like 8 hours a night you sleep? She's like, so
yep.
a third of your life, you're malaligned. So to this day, I get in bed at night, I lie down and I slide my head back. It's a habit. It's part of me like settling in to get ready to sleep is slide my head back. But if she hadn't taught me that, oh my gosh, I'd be back under the knife.
With the fusion, absolutely. Oh my gosh.
So
Yeah.
we were all over the place. And this is so fun that it's so weird that I'm meeting you for the first
I,
time like this when you probably live 10 minutes away from me. So you, you, how did you and your husband lived in the suburbs of Chicago and you were a dancer. And then if you don't mind me asking a personal question, what brought you to the West Coast?
well, long story short, I did 13 years ago, I danced for Eugene Ballet. It was my
Oh,
first professional track. Yes, a million years ago. And so he was going to U of O, and that's when we met.
oh.
And then, dance jobs change really quickly. Budgets come and go, dancers come and go. So, we moved to a couple of different cities. And then when I retired, we looked at each other and said, we can live wherever we want now. Can we move back to Oregon? So, yeah,
Hey, that's so fun. But you're not originally from here?
no,
Okay.
but he
So,
is. So
oh,
it's,
he
I
is?
mean,
Oh.
yeah.
So why did you decide to retire from dance? Was it like your body or what?
So, yeah, my body was starting to tell me like, hey, this is taking like an hour and a half of rehab at night to like prepare for the next day. And it was starting to be like, ooh, this is a lot. And I was watching my colleagues and friends above me retire with varying levels of pain and maybe surgery. I
Mhm.
mean, hip replacements in their 30s, things like that, that I went, ooh, I would love to retire before then if I can. Like, I wanted to dance forever, but I also know myself and I can't sit still and I don't want to get bored.
Mhm.
And so I needed a job where I could move. And so I thought, you know what? I'll know when it's the right time when my body starts to complain regularly
Yeah.
enough that I'm like, ooh, let's consider quality of life for the decades to come. So yeah,
My gosh, you're so mature. You're so mature. That's amazing. I feel like a lot of people would have been like,
And
just,
I didn't want an injury to take me out. I got really lucky because I also saw that happen where it wasn't someone's choice. And I mean, I'm so happy that I started like I was teaching Pilates the last couple years of my dance career as well. And because that was I was like, all right, when I retire, that gives me something I can do at least for a while. But man, I'm never going to get bored. Like teaching any kind of fitness, there's
yeah,
always something new to learn,
I
and you
know.
get to keep moving, and you don't aren't stuck behind a desk. I love it.
So you do it full time. Do you have, I mean, I know you teach at the DAC, so you must do other stuff. Do you have a private studio? Do you have a private practice? Like, how do you do it full time?
Yeah. So I also teach at the Club Pilates in Eugene.
Dude,
Um,
that's kind of near my
yeah,
house.
yeah,
Oh, yeah. So
nice.
you teach there.
Yeah, I'm the lead instructor there, and so I teach group classes there, and then I also have a studio in my home where I do private sessions.
Like one-on-one and stuff like that.
Yep.
Oh, that's so cool. Okay, I have a question later for you offline. Not the podcast can't hear, but I have a question for
Yeah.
you later about Club Pilates. It's not re it doesn't relate. They don't need to know. I'll ask
All
you
good.
later.
Yeah, I teach all over the place. And yeah, I also teach at the Y, so I'm
Oh,
everywhere.
you do too? Okay. Yeah, I do too. That's what I just taught 3 classes today.
Nice.
Back. We call it Warrior Wednesday because I do Warrior
Love.
Strength, Warrior Revolution, and Warrior Rhythm back to back to back. But don't think I'm crazy. It's like one's 30 minutes, one's 45, and the other's 45, and they're very different. But okay, but that leads me to ask you, as a full-time Pilates instructor, do you have to be in there like doing all the time, or is it something you coach and kind of walk around? It does, or does it depend on whether it's like at Club Pilates, are you doing the movements or are you standing on the floor walking around helping people?
So at Club Pilates, I don't do the movements and I'm walking around giving corrections and things like that. When I'm teaching at the Y or the DAC, I'm teaching a mat class. And so it really depends on what the class needs. And then depending on how my body feels, I might do most of the class. Or I might do, you know, half of the class and walk around for this part, show a couple, like I do whatever the class needs. And
Does
so, you know,
Do you, okay, so it's obviously mat Pilates at a gym, like
yeah.
Y or DAC, gym. And then Club Pilates is on the reformers.
Yes, we have the equipment there. They have the chair and the
Oh,
spring.
that's what I was gonna ask. So they have the chair and the Cadillac and other toys?
Yeah. So they've got everything, all the props. And then at my home studio, I don't show or demonstrate anything because I am doing all of the hands-on corrections. I
Yeah.
might indicate an arm, but like the nice thing is, you know, I'm able to mostly sit, especially if it's a long day.
Yeah, that's
So
amazing.
it's very flexible, which is
So great. And you
part of the
teach
fun.
other modalities a little bit, right?
Um,
Or just
not particularly. Like I was teaching dance for a while, but right now I'm just teaching Pilates and yeah, it can vary so much, the different levels, the different I actually taught an 11-year-old's birthday party a few months ago.
Oh, you did?
This mom reached out to me and was like, "My kid would love a Pilates birthday party. Is that weird?"
Stop it. See what I mean? It's so cool today. Everybody's all about Pilates, even an 11-year-old. That's incredible.
It was so fun because so many Pilates exercises are like kids can absolutely do them and they're like animal names. I was like, let's do seal and then crab and then we'll do swan. Like they loved it. It was so fun.
That is so amazing. Oh,
You
I'm
never
so
know where.
glad that you, oh my gosh, did I tell you? I hope I'm not springing this on you because you will be so mad at me. You can take a, if I'm springing this on you out of the blue, you can take a pass. But did I tell you that there's my shows end with a quote confession? I did, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
okay.
I'm prepared.
Okay, good. Okay, so okay, here's my three. We're gonna take it home here. One,
Yes.
I want to know if we left out anything that we kind of wanted to cover or you wanted to cover. If I left out anything, jump in. Two, we need to dig into your confession. And then three, I
Mhm.
want to hear about your 30-day Kickstart program and also like where people can find you and how they can learn more. Like, okay,
Yeah.
wait, sorry, I'm over. Let me break it down. let me go with that.
Who's the
If
first one?
someone is a group fitness instructor that wants to learn more, what do you recommend they do?
So I think that any group fitness instructor that feels really passionate about this,
Mhm.
I loved Girls Gone Strong and my experience with them. But I've started doing meetings with, whether in person or virtual, with other instructors. So far, it's been Pilates instructors, but I'd be so open to working with other types of people on like, hey, how would the pelvic floor impact like, a personal trainer or a yoga instructor, and like how can you learn more about the pelvic floor and how can I share that knowledge? So
Yeah.
that's something that I've started adding into my wheelhouse. And I did think of one thing,
Right.
because I know I said in a group fitness class, like, don't cue the pelvic floor because you don't know what's going on there.
Yeah.
It's too complicated. We're all so different.
Yeah.
Like you thought you had a hypertonic pelvic floor, and it turns out no, it
Yeah.
was like a bladder brain
Yeah.
whole thing. But what you can do, A, is make sure they're breathing. But you're already doing all these great things of working their inner thighs, working their glutes, strengthening their abs. Like all of those connect into the pelvic floor. Like anything like prone on your belly, you're strengthening their back stabilizers, their hamstrings and glutes.
Mhm.
Those all support the pelvic floor.
Mhm.
So sometimes I'll say, when it's usually when their glutes are starting to die at the end of a little side leg series, those side hip muscles, they love to burn. And when they look at me like I'm going to kill you now, I'm like, just five more. Hey, these are helping support a healthy pelvic floor. These are helping support a
Great.
healthy lower back. Remind you, like, why are we suffering
Right.
right now? Okay, that helps.
Oh, that's awesome. That's gold. I was
Like
gonna
stuff
also
that you're already doing. Yeah.
right, but it's nice to tie it to and say, like, people want to know the benefits of what they're doing. And I
Yes, they do.
great way to weave in awareness of the pelvic floor by talking about the benefits and relating it to whatever the bridge lift or whatever they're doing. I was gonna
Yeah.
say too, one thing I've noticed about you, just because we live in this town and we teach it to a couple of the same locations, that you've really like established yourself as a pelvic floor like specialist. Like that's a niche for you that is symbiotic with Pilates and everything that you're doing. And I think it's awesome when group fitness instructors and personal trainers have like a niche wheelhouse that they're kind of a little low-key expert in this particular thing. And so if we have like group fitness instructors listening to this, which I'm sure we do, that are like, I want to have a little niche that I'm like a pro at, that I'm like known for, like make it this or consider it being this because again, generally speaking, it's something that we're under talking about and under aware of, I think, in the industry. So I just think it's really cool, not to talk about you in the third person, but that Paige has done that. So like I walk through the DAC and I'll see like on the digital screen like that she's running a pelvic floor workshop. And I look at her Instagram and I see that that's her area of expertise where she's adding value on social media for people. So food for thought, listeners, like it's great to have like a little thing about you that goes along with whatever you tend to teach and love to teach. So, yeah. Okay. So we recapped. Okay. Are we ready for your confession?
Yes.
Okay.
So my confession, I'm going on the more meaningful side, because I
Okay.
know you get like a mix of them.
Yeah.
And I feel like other group fitness instructors, you'll probably relate to this. I feel like I learn just as much, if not more, from every class, from every person I work with. I learn just as much from them as they learn from me. And it's those little conversations that start as a question from them, that then we start talking and going back and forth. Or if I don't know the answer, I say, let me do some research and get back to you. Like, I want to check on this. And it
Yeah.
becomes this beautiful, like, symbiotic relationship of, it's why I love teaching Pilates, is I'm learning so much. And especially on those days that I'm tired, I'm just feeling unmotivated, and I'm like, I don't particularly want to teach right now. We all get those every now and then. Every time I feel that way, I go to teach, and after the class that I taught, I feel so much better. It's like magic every time. And just that, like, isn't this a cool job that we get to have where people come up and go, hey, since coming to your class regularly, I can, pick up my grandkids and not hurt my back, or I can garden with less pain. Like all of those little tiny everyday things that you're like, oh my gosh, like what I'm doing matters and I'm getting to help people move and have less pain. And I don't know, we have the best jobs, I think.
We have the best jobs. We really do. That was awesome. I love that you took it. Oh, you're right. Like sometimes people are like, I taught with my pants tore, or there's like a funny little anecdote from teaching, but rarely someone comes on with something a little more meaningful. That was kind of actually brought a little bit of a tear to my eye. I don't know why, but it did. We're so blessed. Like my kid's dad, uh, my ex was a police officer, and every day he dealt with like, hard, horrible, like a lot of darkness, a lot of the underbelly, a lot of people in their worst moments, a lot of people upset, whether it's a traffic ticket or a crime or he worked in undercover narcotics for a while, so he was really dealing with a lot of the dark side of humanity. And I was like, oh my gosh. And it affected him so much, but how could it not? But you're right. We have like we get to be often the bright spot in people's day and
Yeah,
on the micro, but on the macro, we get to sometimes like shift the trajectory of their life and their health and well-being. So we're
absolutely.
so thank you for the reminder that we are the most blessed. We are so lucky
Yeah,
to be able to do this. And some of us as a career and some people just as a
right.
side thing. So
No,
um
we all need those reminders on those days where the motivation is low. We all
yeah.
have
Yeah,
men.
and we do all have those days. Yeah. Yeah, all the time.
Mhm.
So tell us, what is your 30-day Kickstart program? Is that something that people can sign up for? Is that virtual?
So it's a bit of a mix because I wanted to be able to reach everyone, but I call it my pelvic floor balance program, and it is meant to be like a 30-day kickstart where people could choose to continue. It's really very personalized. It could be in person entirely, or it could be virtual entirely. But I include 5 sessions with me, just the two of us, whatever format works for you, and then you get a video workout that you get to keep for life that I will update as I learn more. And as I'm like, okay, I know better now, so I'm going to change it.
Yeah.
And you get for those 30 days, like you get communication with me so that you get daily accountability exercises you can do like 5 minutes a day, like something easy
Yeah.
and simple to make it consistent and possible within your schedule. And yeah, I want to reach those people that are like, I am sick of, I want to go back to my HIIT class and not pee my pants every time. I want to be able to, lift heavy weights and like, feel really strong and not have that weird heavy feeling and like know that something's getting, whatever's going on. Like I want to work with people to help. I have one client right now, and she was in a plane crash like 20 years ago.
Oh my goodness.
Horrible. Yeah. And she fractured her pelvis in 5 places, had, many surgeries, like survived. It's incredible. But we've been working on getting her out of pain and having fewer symptoms. And oh my gosh, the day that she was like, hey, wait, I'm not peeing in the middle of the night.
Oh,
Wait, and I go, did you know we couldn't do that exercise 3 months ago because it hurt? You're doing it now. Now we can do a harder one because you're
oh.
getting stronger. Like those moments. That's what I want people to be able to use this program. And again, you get to keep that video workout for life.
Okay.
You can do it whenever you want. If you're like, I have 10 minutes, you can do part of the video,
Okay.
whatever works for you. So yeah, if people want to, sign up for that, go to my website
Which
and,
is, yeah, tell us. So tell us where they can find that. And you already sent me all this, so I'll put it in the show, but notes. But tell us for the people that aren't going to click on the link that might just listen to
yeah,
you.
my website is paigepilates.com. And then you can find me on Instagram and YouTube at Paige Pilates.
And Paige is Paige,
Yes.
as opposed to like a page in the book. So,
Right.
well, thank you so much for coming on. I enjoyed meeting you. And I mean, Eugene's so small, I can't go anywhere without running into someone I know. So we will, I know our paths will cross in person soon. I would love to drop into one of your Club Pilates sessions.
Definitely. We
Yeah,
should we should
it's
chat
near
more.
my house. So,
I know. I need to I need to check out some of your classes too.
yeah, we should dabble. All right. Thank you
I know the other
so
struggle of getting into classes as a group fitness instructor.
Oh gosh, that's the problem. I want to do it
It
so
takes
bad,
time.
but we teach so much. It is the problem. But I'm getting better at coaching a lot of my classes. So just because I'm trying to like not have, I want to teach a lot, but don't want all the wear and tear on my body. So if I do a dedicated week where I am coaching, make a concerted effort to coach more, I can connect with you about Club Pilates. So.
Definitely. No, thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun.
You're welcome. It was so fun. Nice to meet you. And thank you, everybody, for listening.
Yes.
Bye.
Thank you for joining in on the Confessions of a Group X Instructor podcast. If you're interested in becoming a warrior instructor, go to warriorinstructors.com. But if you want more and found this episode amazing, please give us a rating. And with a simple click to subscribe, we'll invite you back to our next episode. So remember, be brave, be bold, be blessed. And above all, listen, learn, love.